Scotty B.
It's Sports Talk with Scotty Burrell.
Either you can or you don't want.
It's Sports Talk with Scotty Burrell.
We go hard in the paint. Oh boy, you better bring it. Sports Talk, a conversation with Coach Scotty Burrell. Either you can or you don't want. Now, here's your host, Coach Scotty Burrell.
So, episode 5, man, I have one of the most prestigious, I call it prestigious or already accomplished, young coach in the business, high school football coach, Hunter Landry, now the new LRC coach, head football coach. We get stuck on that LRC.
Yes, sir.
Hey, congratulations, Hunter. Welcome to Sports Talk. It's either you can't or you don't want. But man, listen, man, first of all, I know you from Brobridge High. Mm-hmm. I'm a graduate of Brobridge High, and you are too. Mm-hmm. Let's start there. You played quarterback?
Quarterback
at Brobridge High. You was part of the coaching staff for a minute. So,
yeah, as soon as I graduated first year.
Right, I remember. So let's start there. You graduated what year?
2010. Graduated in 2010. Yep.
Let's go from there. You played quarterback, and when you went on to college, and what did you do?
Yeah, so I started quarterback my junior year and senior year. Got to play with some pretty great guys. Trev was probably the most well-known out of that group. Trev was just a sophomore my senior year. Once I graduated, I had no idea what I wanted to go to school for. I enrolled at UL for accounting. And Paul,
that's a big difference.
right, and Paul Broussard was the head coach at the time,
Absolutely.
and he asked me if I had anyone to come back and help coach, and I didn't think much of it, but I thought it was a great way to stay close to the game, and so that summer I came back, and within the first month I went to my mom and was like, I'm changing my major, I'm going into education, and the rest is history. I went to UL, finished, graduated in 2015. I coached those 5 years. I coached at Brobridge as a non-faculty coach, and then
I had them days.
And then 2016, I believe, I was able to get a job there and worked there for 3 years. Was with Terry Martin, Chad Porcio was some of the head coaches there, and that was kind of my Brobridge tenure. I think I was there for like 9 years, something like that.
Well, we were watching you grow up right in front of our eyes, and I mean, I've said it before, I said it off the record. I knew you, and I thought you was going to be a good head coach one day because I saw you. You know, you watch, when you're on the sideline, you don't notice people are watching. And I used to watch you guys, and I'm like, he is focused when everybody else is not focused. And I'm like, I think this young man is going to be very good one day as a coach. So before we get into your coaching, you're married?
Married my high school sweetheart. We've been together since we were sophomores.
I'm going to tell you why I'm laughing. Go ahead.
Married for 9 years now. 3 kids, a 6, a 4, and a 2-year-old. So, yep.
Well, guess what? I married my high school.
There you go.
We were 16 years old when we started dating.
Exactly.
I told her, you know what's funny? I played for Lewis Handy at Brobridge High School.
Okay.
And I was considered the focal point of the team. Boy, he used to come get my girlfriend out of class.
Oh, yeah?
No, not arguing today. And she would say, why you asking? Well, we got a big game.
Right.
Right.
I need him focused. Exactly.
We'll get to lunch and she said, you know, Coach Handy came and grabbed me out of class. Did that ever happen to you?
Oh, no, not too much. I was very quiet, so, yeah.
But, boy, I married my high school. Well, I love that story, man. I'm glad I got you in.
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't hear that too often.
No.
Like I told another coach, he's in a similar situation, Coach Starks, and he was saying that he's in the fourth quarter with his wife. I said, well, I'm in overtime.
Oh, yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Overtime. So, Hunter, back to you, Coach. You get the call to come to LCA, one of the, you could say, prominent high school in the state of Louisiana. They were starting to win championships in all sports. What went through your mind? What was your thoughts of changing from Brobridge to LCA?
Yeah, I knew. I had talks with my brothers. I have an older brother that graduated from Brobridge High School, Brock. Played quarterback. He graduated in 2008. I had a younger brother who played quarterback. He graduated in 2014. And we used to always joke about, man, it would be awesome to all be on the same coaching staff. And at the time, all we knew was Brobridge High School.
Exactly.
My dad played there. We all went there. And so I always had this idea of, man, it would be cool to go to a lower level school. You know, I was Brobridge at the time was a 4A. And so I was like, man, a 1A, a 2A, that intrigued me at the time. And so I didn't really give it much thought. They had a few jobs that had opened up at the lower level. Vermilion Catholic was one. I had expressed some interest in it. I had gone, and at the time, Trev Faulk was actually at Vermilion Catholic. And I had talked to him very briefly, and you could just tell right away that he was a special guy, not only on the field, but you know, off the field as well.
I've heard a lot of amazing things, and I've met him too. Absolutely right.
Right, and so it's kind of full circle. You know, my last year at Brobridge High, one of the teachers that I worked with, her kids went to LCA, and she asked me if I was satisfied or happy with where I was at Brobridge, and I said yeah. And she said, well, because at LCA, you know, they're looking for coaches all the time. She said, if you're ever interested, you know, I would send my resume. And so I didn't think much of it. At the time, I kind of, like you said, LCA was kind of known for boys basketball. Girls basketball was starting to take off.
Right.
And football had, I think they were on their second one state championship. So, you know, it started getting the attention of a lot of people. And I sent my resume in, and I had talked to Coach Faulk at the time. He was still kind of like an athletic director.
So he was already at.
He was already at LCA, and when I contacted him, he remembered me from when I had talked to him when he was at VC, and so it kind of came full circle. I was able to get hired on as a 8th grade history teacher. It was kind of my way of getting my foot in the door. And did football that year, and that was 2019, I believe. First year there, I remember going into the season, we scrimmaged St. Martinville, who, you know, Coach Vince always does a great job with his teams being physical, and we go scrimmage them. And the year before, LCA had kind of put it on St. Martinville, where I go. And we struggled in a typical jamboree scrimmage.
Everybody was saying, St. Martinville's gonna be good.
Right, and I'm like scratching my head. I'm like, the year I come, I'm like, man, we're not gonna be as good. And we ended up going on an incredible run, and ended up playing at UL against St. Charles and winning the state championship. And so that was an incredible experience for me, you know, to be a part of something like that. And then
what was your first position at LCA?
So I kind of helped out with the offensive coordinator. It was kind of like a passing game, and then I worked with the quarterbacks, receivers. We were kind of short staffed, so we kind of all just had different roles and just try to make things work. And so ended up being a great thing over there.
So you got the call to go to LCA. How hard was it? I know I got a call from Cecilia. This is where I work now, and boy, I tell you, it was like flooded of phone calls. You're going to Cecilia, especially it's a whole little different. It's a whole lot different, I should say, compared to you going to Lafayette and going to the Robbery.
Right.
But I was never employed. I was just volunteering. It was a different opportunity. But how big when you got that call, went through your mind and you say, I need to let them know I'm going to take that job?
Right. So it was the summer going into 2019, and Chad Porcio had just taken over as head coach, and me and Chad still to this day still talk, and he's a great dude. And it was tough because, like I said, my dad went there, my three brothers, that's all we knew. And so it wasn't an easy conversation. You know, and then like Gabe Cormier, Kyle Cormier.
There was a lot of history.
They've been knowing me since birth, and so it wasn't an easy conversation.
You play baseball too,
I played baseball as well, so yeah, I've been knowing some of those coaches for 20 plus years, and so it wasn't easy, and you know, a lot of them kind of it shocked them, but you know, at the end of the day, I felt it was a move that was needed for me and my family. I felt it was best for me to venture out and, you know, just try something new.
Because, you know, it is hard to coach where you're born and raised, where everybody knows you.
Right.
I can tell you.
Right.
And I was volunteering. Now, basketball is totally different because the fans are right in your back. You know, at least football, you got about 10 to 20 yards, but you still hear them.
And a headset that kind of tunes everything out. So, you know.
It is hard to coach where you grew up at. And, you know, you know all the parents. Like in my case, I was an older coach when I started. You knew all the parents knew you.
Right.
They call you all the nicknames. I never knew his nickname was that. Yeah,
Right,
but
right.
No, it's a whole lot different. So you got down to LCA, man. Was it a different breed of animal in your opinion?
Oh yeah, it was. Everything was different in the how we talk to the kids, to getting the spiritual side involved in football, and it wasn't just so much about football and like things like that. It was totally different from what I was used to, and we were very fortunate to have some guys that can make some plays.
Right.
My first year was Errol Rogers, who went on to UL, and now he's at Liberty. His senior year, so we had some guys that can go a little bit. Sage Ryan, and so it made it fun to be around. But those guys worked extremely hard to get to where they were, and
it makes your job easy when you.
It does.
When you
it does.
Coach somebody that want to be somebody.
It does.
It
does.
Makes your job a whole
But
lot.
you could just tell with those guys that it was more of a business and a job than a hobby for them.
Well, that makes it a whole lot easier. How did you wrap your arms around all that talent? You say, wow, I have to put them in the right places, in the right position. How did you come about wrapping your arms around?
Right. For the most part, man, it was some very unselfish players, so they were team first. Whatever we needed from them, they were willing to do it. A perfect example is a Sage Ryan, who ended up being a number one, number two safety in the country, and he played maybe 20 snaps at safety his junior and senior year.
That's how talented that young man.
And he knew that offensively, we kind of needed more from him to make some plays, and he did it. And then when we kind of needed him to go make some plays on defense, we'd put him in, but it was very spot. It wasn't all the time, and so. It was just guys that were unselfish and willing to get to the dance and host up that trophy at the end.
Well, that's amazing. That's amazing. I'm going to take you a step backwards again.
Mm-hmm.
We're back at Brobridge High for a second. I just want to touch on that. You played quarterback. Give me one of your brightest moments and one of the biggest games you played in at Brobridge.
Oh man, I always go back to my junior year. We're playing at Neville, and at the time Neville was the powerhouse, and 4A.
Championship lineup,
right,
the big screen,
right
on the board. We like coming from little old Brobridge.
Exactly.
We don't have a big screen.
No, oh no. And so when you get off the bus, like you said, the first thing you see is numerous state championships, final appearances, and so and then I think by the time it was kickoff, it was 20 degrees. It was freezing.
Absolutely.
And it was a great game going back and forth. And then I think I threw an interception late in the game, and it was kind of in that area where they could just run it out. And we needed a play, and my nose guard, Curfy Stewart, ended up making probably one of the greatest high school plays I've ever seen.
When he grabbed someone with one hand, he was almost on the ground.
Well, it was the center right in front of him. He jumped over the center, reached back, grabbed the quarterback, and ripped the ball out of his hand.
Wow.
And got the ball back with probably a little under a minute, and we went down and scored with maybe 20 seconds left and ended up moving on.
You bring some good memories. I get goosebumps.
Right.
And actually, my video guy, that's his nephew.
Okay, yeah, man. Like I said, Brobridge had some, man, Brobridge was, we were known for defense back in the day. We had some guys, and we ended up falling short that next round to Shaw in the semifinals. They had some guys that can play a little bit, but it was a back and forth. But that was probably one of my highlights that year.
Now playing quarterback, how big is that when it comes to coaching, with playing that position and now teaching the kids? How instrumental was that, playing quarterback, learning from some of these former coaches, and becoming a coach? What did you bring from there and brought it with you?
Right. I think it helps the situation when, I know what I would be looking at and trying to relay that message to the quarterbacks and, just trying to get them on the same page as you. Because at the end of the day, you could ask him, you could say why you didn't throw it here, but he's not going to see something that you may not see. So
exactly.
I've learned that throughout my years of coaching, especially at the quarterback position. You just gotta teach them the ways that you want them to operate, and then you gotta just trust that they're going to do it. Because at the end of the day, which, like I said, what you see may not be what they see, and so.
Especially in the heat of the moment.
Right,
when
exactly.
A 250-pound guy is chasing
Right,
you around.
right.
The pocket is breaking down.
Exactly. So I think it's just trying to get them as many reps in practice on game-like situations and putting them in a spot to be successul and trying to give them, easy throws at the beginning, kind of get them warmed up, and then,
So somewhat you got to take the good with the bad.
You do. A perfect example was I coached Juwan Johnson the last couple of years, and he was one. He early on he did a few bad things, but he also did a lot of good things.
It's positive.
So you took a lot of his bad with the good he brought with it. So, but it's definitely a benefit. I feel like being able to translate and talk quarterback lingo with them.
Okay. Well, we're going to want to thank our sponsors right quick. We're going to keep going in just a second. We want to thank Rytech in St. Martinville, Rytech Screen Printing at 337-394-1020. We want to thank Coach C Driving Academy in Brobridge, teaching you how to drive. A lot of kids, they need to go to these classes before you get a license. So Coach C is one of the companies you can call at 337-962-4642. Want to thank Dane Green and Piggly Wiggly, as we all know, great plate lunches.
Exactly.
Coach Sean got everything.
Exactly.
You need. And we also want to thank Floyd Poche at the Historical Meat Market and Restaurant Poche's down here in Brobridge/Cecilia, I would say. So, Hunter, we're here at Sports Talk, man. Once again, thank you for being on the show.
Absolutely, thank you.
You was the offensive / you could say offensive coordinator. Now, Trev Faulk decides to leave, am I right?
Yeah, so my first year, is kind of crazy how it all transpired. My first year there, that next year COVID actually hit. And at the time my wife sells insurance, and so we kind of didn't know what that would look like for her, and we had just moved to Youngsville, and so I actually took a job in 2020 at Southside for half a year.
Yeah, we didn't know. I didn't know.
Right. Yeah, it went by quick, and so it was that COVID year. I took a job with Southside, Josh Fonno, head coach, and so it was a whole new dynamic going from where I was to this, and then also being in a COVID year. You had all kind of rules and regulations to follow. Exactly.
Checking temperature.
Exactly.
Down
right.
Doing all that stuff. I mean.
Right.
By the time you start the game, you were wore out.
Exactly. And so I did the football season there, and then in January, LCA called again and was like, hey, we're having some coaching changes. Would you be interested in coming back and being the offensive coordinator? And so I was like, I'll be there tomorrow. And so I started in January, and Coach Faulk had just accepted the job as the head coach. That was the year we played at Tulane. We lost to St. Charles in the state finals. It was Jawan's. That would have been Jawan's sophomore year.
Who was the head coach before?
Jacardi Carter.
Okay.
Jacardi Carter, who's now at Northside. I actually played against him my time at Brobridge. He was a linebacker at Northside.
Dad and I are good friends.
Okay. Yeah. Great dude, great coach. I think he's trending Northside in the right direction.
He made it to the playoff last
He
year.
did.
So
He did.
he did.
And so went back to LCA and coached there. And then when Trev stepped down, then I took over this past year. And we had a pretty good year. Ended up falling short in the state finals against St. Thomas More.
Right down the road.
Right.
Well, it's hard to beat the same team. Well, it was hard to beat your crosstown rivalry. To say it's hard to beat somebody twice, and I could imagine, Coach Hightower. He's a legend.
He is.
So
he is.
I know he might have stayed up all night here with his staff trying to figure out how we could slow down Johnson. And you had one of our guys from here, Trey Grogan. Started out here at Cecilia.
Yes, sir.
And ended up down the road at LCA. So before you got the head job, how many state championships had the team won?
It was 4. They had won 4 in a row.
Okay.
And I was part of the third one.
Okay.
They had 4 in a row.
So you got Trev decided to leave. They say, Hunter, it's your ball. How did Hunter feel? What went across your mind, and how big of shoes you had to fill stepping in behind Trev Faulk? Huh?
Right. It's crazy how it all happened. I remember it very well that day. It was like right before Christmas. We got out for that Christmas break. Coach Faulk pulled me aside and he said, "Hey, I just wanted to let you know I'm going to step down." And obviously, you know, when you lose somebody like that, not only what he brings football-wise knowledge, but just a great person, you know, just another coach that you want in your circle. You know, I took it very hard, but, you know, he had told me he kind of spoke with administration and let them know that, you know, I would be his choice to take over. And I think within an hour, I got called to the office and was like, "Do you want it?"
No brainer,
I said, "Yeah, I'm ready to go." And it's crazy how it happened because I took it, and then Christmas break happened, and we actually went on vacation to Florida. And so I didn't even get to see the kids until I got back. And so it was so much, I was in Florida, but my mind wasn't in Florida. My mind was back here on how the kids would, you know, respond to it and stuff like that. Oh, yeah. Put your phone up. I heard that one a few times. And so it was just crazy how it all happened. But the kids, I was so familiar with them that they knew everything was going to kind of stay the same.
So nothing changed. It was
nothing changed. Just the voice.
Role,
yep.
Everything was already structured. Trev had laid the foundation for, and like you just said, the type of person who wouldn't follow that foundation.
Right.
So it wasn't much of a big transition.
No.
Just trying to transition and fill in those shoes.
Right.
So your first year as a football coach, how did that go? And you mentioned about falling short, but overall, how did that go?
Man, I thought it was a great season. You know, we get caught up in the wins and losses, and any competitive person's going to be wins and losses. But there was just so much experience that I gained from it. You know, just learning so many things, what worked, what didn't work, some things you might have changed moving forward. You know, how handling a situation maybe a little bit better or something like that. But I just felt like I grew as a person just tremendously. Because I wasn't great at that time, or up until that point, I wasn't great with handling conflict as well. And you know, when you're the head man, everything falls on you. So you know, I had to kind of grow up and make that jump quick. And so you know, we had a good scrimmage in Jamboree. Then we opened up with Acadiana, who's, you know, has been the image of Acadiana football for the last couple years. And so we ended up having a very big win as my first win. And so I was so happy for the kids because, you know, they went through so much, and to start off the season on a good note, I was so proud of the kids.
Well, the kids bought in after that.
Yeah, and then after that it was
must have been amazing.
Right.
Well, I could. That says a lot for what you have accomplished in the foundation that Trev said, and you continue to move forward with that. But we talk about Trev. How much Trev Faulk means to you and what he brought to you? I know you've been talking, but I want to hear it again.
Yeah, I mean he's as good as they come. Like I said, he you know, I know. Up until I got to LCA kind of had a bad rap, you know, or whatever, and I had to see it with my own eyes, you know. And once I got there, man, everything that you hear about him, or he does this and that, man, he's as good as it comes. You know, he's a guy that you want on your side. He's gonna take care of the kids, man. Just showed me, you know, it's more to life than just football for these kids. And so just trying to make them better men off the field, bringing them to tutoring if we had to, feeding them, you know, things like that. He just so many life lessons that he taught that I'll always have with me. And, you know, it's kind of what made it was tough to make the decision to leave LCA, but, you know, knowing that he was going to be around, you know, in some role, it kind of softened the blow a little bit, making, you know, the transition to my new job.
Well, Trev, you hear this man has a lot of love for you. We got to get Trev on the show. Trev,
yes, sir.
Sports Talk wants you here one day. So everybody knows now Hunter Landry made it state championship. Hunter Landry is setting the foundation for LCA football to continue in that path. You had the best player in the state of Louisiana, Juwan Johnson. How big was that, coaching that young man? I met his mom at the banquet. He was unable to attend.
Right.
And you can tell the character of her. He's got to be an amazing young man. How big was that, coaching one of the best players or the best player in the state of Louisiana? Yeah,
you know, up until that point, I would say probably some of the better kids that I coached was your Traven Durrells, your Kavara Holmes, you know, Dartravian Gerard back at Bro Bridge. You know, that was some of the names that I was used to. And then, you know, when I get around him and You know, it was one of those I definitely didn't take for granted. He was special from the day I met him when I first got to LCA and taught 8th grade history. He was in my 8th grade history class, and at the time he was a little, you know, he's a little knucklehead, you know, but at that age, you know, most 13-year-olds were, and so just the growth he made, you know, from 8th grade to freshman, and then the growth from freshman to sophomore, and basically as a sophomore asking him, hey, we need you to be the leader of this offense, and then as a junior, hey, now we need you to be the leader of this team. You know, just to see him take kind of the reins of the team, and we went as he went, and the growth he made. I know he got labeled as an athlete, but the strides he made as a quarterback, I would say he was a great player, athlete in the state of Louisiana, but I'd put him up against any quarterback in the state. Just a tremendous guy. Right. It's not like he just ran for 3,000. No, he threw for 4,000 and ran for another 1,000. So, you know, he did something right, and he was obviously surrounded by some good talent, but he went with the game plan. He was a student of the game. He practiced. That was my biggest compliment to him, was the way he practiced. He was our best practice player, and he practiced like it was a Friday night. And I think once everybody else saw that our best players practicing like this, we're going to do it too. And so it made it easy for practice. You know, you almost had to pull the reins back with him in practice to kind of slow down. But just a tremendous player, not only on the field but off the field as well.
You know that being a former player yourself, if your best player is not practicing well, it's like having one bad apple in the bag.
Right, you're kind of going through the motions.
Yeah, all of them is going to get bad. We're not going to have a successful program if only one of our best players is not performing to his or her capability. So we're going to fast forward right quick. It don't hit you with a little tough question. Trev Faulk leaves. Right. Trev Faulk go down. Is he at?
Right. So the year I took over, he kind of took a step back, and he spent a little bit more time with his kids because his kids were getting his boys in 7th grade, and so he helps coach his team. His kids still go to LCA. And he was kind of getting involved a little bit more into some outside projects and stuff like that. And so he kind of took the year off. He made a few games, you know, but he didn't make all of them. But he was always a phone call away if I needed. And then once the season kind of ended, you know, it was sometime in January, we had to sit down, and he was like, what you think about this? He said, I'm thinking about kind of being like an athletic director type role, kind of overseeing all football operations down the road. You know, is that something you'd be interested in coming down the road? And after talking with my wife, you know, the opportunity to kind of start up a program and start from the ground up.
That way people can't say, oh, Hunter inherited a talent.
Exactly.
He didn't coach. He had all the best players in the state.
Right.
You want to have your own identity.
Right. And so, you know, that I like challenges, and so that was a challenge that I thought, you know, that would have been fun to take over. And so talking with him, talking with administration at LRCA, and you know, it seemed like the right fit, and so ended up getting, you know, the head coaching job, and then was able to get kind of a few coaches in place, and we've kind of been there since February, and just hitting the ground running.
Once again, how tough it was to say goodbye, man.
Right. I had flashbacks at Bro Bridge. You know, I wasn't at LCA quite as long, but just I felt like just the relationships we built with some of the families there, faculty, administration, it was, I felt like we just had, you know, kind of the same thing we had at Bro Bridge. And so it wasn't easy at first. You know, and it kind of brought flashbacks to Bro Bridge, you know, a lot of why, you know, was it something, but kept just relaying to them, you know, it wasn't anything that they did or anything. It was just something different, you know, right.
People change things, say, look, John Calipari is going to Arkansas.
Right.
Why not Hunter Landry going from LCA to LRC? So you just mentioned you got your coaches, you would have mentioned who's your coaching staff?
Right. So we were able to get Coach Reggie Williams. He'll do the D-line. He was with us at LCA. Andre Gobert. He's going to be kind of in the secondary. He's coached tremendous. You know, both of them have a long sheet of guys they put into college. I'm actually working on trying to get my younger brother. He's an athletic trainer right now at Karen Crow. trying to get him over with us at LRCA.
And Daddy got to go too, though.
And Dad goes
Dad
wherever
gotta
we go,
go
so
too,
so that's another guy. My older brother, this was his this past year was his first year helping out. He really enjoyed it, but he's not really in the school system,
Right.
so he's just a non-faculty
Right,
guy. So he'll come with us. And then just Chase Malbrew played at UL. His brother Princeton's at LSU. He's gonna be there with us. He'll probably be on the defensive side as well.
Who's your defensive coordinator?
Right now, it'll probably be a collective group. Coach Chase did a tremendous job last year, kind of on the JV side. Coach Mitch Kraft was a guy that was able to come with us. He was a defensive coordinator at LCA. I think he's going to stay kind of put, but Coach Chase, I think he's a young coach that's got a tremendous shot of being really good in the area as a defensive coordinator. But right now, it's just kind of a collective group about to start doing some install stuff. So we'll just kind of see what kind of kids.
Call your own plays, Coach?
I'm not ready to give that up yet. I'm not ready to give that up yet. But I know my younger brother. He's hungry to learn and stuff like that.
He's
so
gonna be visiting you quite often.
yeah, so he may be a guy that can eventually get to that point. But I still love doing it. I think when it gets to a point where I don't like it anymore, I may give it up. But I just like it right now.
So you have to play 2 years of junior varsity?
No, so this will be our first year of varsity. They played junior varsity.
Okay.
This will be their first year of varsity.
So every basketball team,
Everything.
I know the young coach gets his name, but he came down to tournament. Thank you, coach, for coming out to basketball tournament. And the new colors are blue and
Blue and black.
Blue and black.
Blue and black with some gray in there, some white.
okay. And y'all mascot
Tigers. Tigers. So
Well,
I
that's
kind
all right.
of got back to the Bro Bridge days. Yes, sir. And then we'll be in 2A, kind of, and it just kind of so happened to work out, be in the same district as the LCA next year with Notre Dame, Welsh, and Lake Arthur.
Okay, well you get to coach against the legendary Louis Cook.
Louis Cook.
So, Hunter, we want to thank you for coming out, man, and sharing a little time.
Absolutely. Thank you for
with
having
here
us.
at Sports Talk is something new. I used to be a former coach, and I just wanted to try to do something where I can let everybody see all the hard work y'all do. Well, not see what y'all do, but talk about it. And it's not just inside the field lines and all. Hear about all what the hard work. If you had to look in the camera and tell any upcoming young coach any kind of words of wisdom or advice or encouragement, what would that be?
Yeah, I would just say, no role's too small for you. I started off as an assistant coach and just kind of worked my way up to it, and still as a head coach, I'll do anything from laundry to whatever it takes, so don't think that you're bigger than the role that you get asked to do, and then just always keep your head down and work. You just keep working and work while you wait. I love the Tony Robo show, what you do in the dark is going to come to light one day, so just keep working and stick it out.
Before we go, right quick, I just had a quick question. Any players that's on the new Tigers program here at LRC that we should be looking out for?
Yeah, so we've kind of been just working out and doing some running stuff, but some guys that have been working really hard. Jaquel Smith, Jaquel's going to be a senior for us. He played a little bit of everything last year, from safety, corner to receiver, running back. Kind of a dynamic player for him last year. Dwayne Johnson, running back, going to be a junior, another one that was kind of a one play away from breaking a long play. And so those two have been working really hard. Ja'Cory Douillon, another slot safety, corner type guy that played really well last year. And then like Tyrone Jacques played offensive line, D-line for us last year. He's kind of been the leader for us through our workouts right now. Just a tremendous guy that has been leading the team so far.
So you got a young team / old team in a sense. Young because you just got them, but some of them got a little high school experience by playing JV and so forth. We want to wish you the best of luck.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you again for coming on here. We know you're going to do an outstanding job. You're going to put your heart and soul in. We want to thank our sponsors again.
Yes,
right
sir.
quick. We want to thank Rytech again in St. Martinville at 337-394-1020. Want to thank Coach C Driving Academy in Bro Bridge at 337-962-4642. We want to thank Tico, Sean, and Piggly Wiggly here. You know, they have the outstanding plate lunches during the week and
Right,
meat market
right.
in case you're getting ready to do any cooking, man. Come on down here to Piggly Wiggly, grab you some of the specialty meat. And we want to thank Floyd Poche with the historical meat market and restaurant down here in Brobridge/Cecilia. Hey, this has been another episode of Sports Talk. Either you can't or you don't want. Hunter Landry, the new LRC head football coach. This has been Sports Talk. Thank you.
Thank you.
Scotty B.
It's Sports Talk with Scotty Burrell.
Either you can't or you don't want.
It's Sports Talk with Scotty Burrell.
We go hard in the paint, homeboy, you better bring it. Sports Talk, a conversation with Coach Scotty Burrell. Either you can't or you don't want.